Just have to talk about video games. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not hard.
It's not professional, even a little, so it's okay.
They're not professional, Ray. I'm super professional.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, hey, hi, YouTube. We're live.
All right, got your Audacity up? All right, we'll count it down. 3.
Wait, no. All right, now
4.
Wait,
3.
For real?
2.
Yes.
1. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, friends, countrymen, Romans, to episode number 79 of the South Dakota Gamer Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me this week, as always, Dave Mann.
Yes, I'm here.
Joshua Owens.
That's my name.
And Ray, special guest Ray from North Dakota today.
Wow.
Hey, Ray.
Ashmore.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Absolutely. So, Josh was not with us last week, so Dave and I talked a lot about video games. We were about ready to play No Man's Sky, and guess what? We played The Sky of No Man. And come to find out, like 5 minutes ago, not even, Josh also played No Man's Sky.
Oh, you did?
I got it late in the game. I got it, what was it, Saturday.
Oh, so you've had a good couple days with it.
So I've put in a few hours since Saturday, yes.
So we have some...
Give a quick 5-word first impression.
I never
1 word. 2,
need
3,
another
4.
game.
Wow.
That's a very good one.
Well done. Well done.
That's a very good one.
So we'll obviously have some No Man's Sky impressions this week. We were about ready to play it. Half hour after the podcast ended, we dove headfirst into that world, and we'll talk to you about it today. We also have the news that you can use, a topic, and then obviously Game Scoops 20 questions right at the end. But first of all, we have Ray, like I mentioned, joining us. He is with Dave. He works with Dave, and he's sitting in because he's basically the roommate of Dave tonight, and if he didn't sit in, he'd be sitting in anyway. So
he also worked with Josh, too, so Josh and him are chums as well.
Yeah. So we kind of, obviously it's a video game podcast, Ray, and I'm sure you've listened to every episode we've done. The way we've always kind of started off with guests is we kind of like to hear their story of kind of how gaming started for them. I know you do some gaming currently, so if you could kind of go back and remember your childhood and tell us about those fond memories of maybe where gaming kind of started for you.
Okay, I can do that for you. The first game system I had was the NES.
Winner.
My dad got it for me, and it was actually the first game I had on it was the Sesame Street Shapes game.
Oh,
It's actually kind of cool. You know, and like you had to, I think you did a little bit of adding, subtracting stuff on it, and like rockets would take off and matched all the shapes up. It was just it's a cool
education.
game.
Cool.
Yeah, education game.
I never played the Mario or the Sesame Street game.
My next game was Mario. Of course, I played that. I continued playing that. Had that system. Got the Super Nintendo, N64, all that stuff afterward. But I always played the Super Mario 1. That was my favorite one.
Cool.
I always played that one.
Ray was sporting the Super Mario 1 shirt the last few days.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Got that one with me.
Cool. So it sounds very similar to the three of us as far as kind of growing up in the Nintendo family. You mentioned Super Mario 1 being your favorite game. Would you say that's your favorite game you've ever played your entire life?
Think about
I know.
It's on up there. It's
No.
it could be like it could be up there. If I said top 5, I'd have to name 4 other titles, and I can't do that either. But
Ray's
it'd be top 5.
also a very big Link Legend of Zelda fan.
Yes.
Okay.
Ocarina of Time's my favorite on that.
Oh yeah. All right. Nice. Cool. All right. Well, that's good. He's got some gaming chops and fits right into where we are. Not that you have to be on this podcast, but it sure does help. Excellent. So those are some games that you could play a long, long time ago. And some of us can play them now. And in November, we'll all be able to play them again on the NES Mini, which I'm super excited about.
I think so cool.
3DS.
Yeah, that's right. You got
3DS everywhere.
Yeah, so you can do the virtual console and play them that way. That's great. Well, let's talk about what we've been playing lately. I'm going to say let's let Ray go first, because I assume once we start talking No Man's Sky, it's going to be a real deep hole that we're going to get into. So, Ray, tell me, you travel a lot, as we know Dave does. So gaming on the go is obviously a good way to pass time. And you mentioned you have that 3DS. What are some things you've been playing lately on that?
Well, I'll tell you about my constants first.
Yes.
Because obviously I play. Actually, the reason I bought the 3DS was simply so I could have a portable version of Mario 1 from the NES.
That's
so
great.
I always play that. I have Mario 2. I have the real Mario 2 as well, the Lost Worlds.
Yeah.
And also Mario 3 and the Ocarina of Time, has the original version. You beat it and you get the Master Quest.
Cool.
So I play those. That's like my rotation. But the main game I've been playing is Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Okay.
And the last Paper Mario that I had enjoyed was actually on the N64. But this one's pretty good. I bought it 2 years ago. Played it a little bit and then put it away. And the other day I started playing it. I wanted to complete it, and I've actually enjoyed this one a lot.
Is it kind of an RPG type game? Yeah. Okay.
Ray was bummed because right now, where are you, Ray, in the game?
Oh, I'm literally about to fight the final boss, which is Bowser.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit about how to, what to take into the battle with me because, this game is you have to. It's a lot of trial and error. Where do you stick these stickers, kind of thing, and it's really time consuming, which is good if you run down the road and all that. But I did not want to go through that same ordeal on the final boss. I just want to go in there and spank him,
And get it over with. Yeah. So instead of playing that tonight before you go to bed, you're on a podcast talking about it instead.
I'm sure I'll still play some of it.
That's very possible.
We don't have to leave until 1 tomorrow, so I'm definitely putting my PlayStation 4 in this TV over here.
I see. Of course. That's good. You're learning. Awesome. All right. Anything else? So that's kind of the main ones.
Those are the main ones. I've got Mega Man, the original, on that 3DS as well. That's really hard, of course.
Yeah.
Haven't had any luck in my adult years beating Mega Man 1, but I did when I was a kid.
I told Ray my story about my rage quitting Twitch.
Yeah. Best Twitch stream ever.
Was that Mega Man 2?
Yeah, it might have been 1. I think it was 1.
Yeah, I feel like it was 1.
Ah, man, that was annoying.
Ray, did we ever play Mario Kart on our 3DSs?
We
together?
did, going down the road, actually, yeah.
I thought we did. Okay, yeah. That was good times.
Yeah, well, that was fun.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, my kids scream on the way to church every week as they play Mario Kart 7 together, yelling at each other for hitting each other with their green shells and stuff. It's great. It's real great.
It's good family fun.
Yeah, good family fun. That's right. Excellent. All right. Well, let's make No Man's Sky last. So, Dave, it looks like that's pretty much all you were able to play.
Yeah, I've been gone basically since
last week.
No Man's Sky, when our digital downloads hit at like 11 Central Time Monday night.
Yeah.
Played that until like 4 in the morning, and then got up at like 7:30, and then went to Chicago. Took my PS4 with me, and basically just played No Man's Sky the whole time, and then came home and then turned right around and left for this trip and brought my PlayStation 4 with me here, and I've I guess we're kind of getting into it. So we'll let anyone else who's played anything else.
So that's all you played. Yeah. I played Overwatch a little bit, and tonight I got the 10 matches you have to get in order to get ranked, so I got ranked. Nice. And I was the highest out of the group. How about that?
That's what I was too. But that's
and then I started falling.
Anything.
Right. And then I started falling real quick. I got ranked 55. I'm down to 53. I was ranked 54. I'm down to 52. So I've been playing with the Steel Boys and a couple of their friends. We had a 6-man team tonight and last night a little bit.
Nice.
So I got in the ranked mode for season 1.
6-man team.
Yeah,
where's my spot when I come back?
I know. Well, I'm sure we were 6 tonight and last night, but there are times that it's been just 3 of us or 4 of us. So.
Evan texted me and said they're missing my DPS, and I'm wondering if that's all talk.
No, you're definitely one of the high ones when it comes to because I'm still not real good. So the damage doer is definitely you. So I'm sure they'll be glad to have you back with that.
Damage doer.
The damage doer. So
doing the damage.
That's the only thing I've played besides No Man's Sky. Josh, what else besides No Man's Sky have you played this last 2 weeks, actually, for you?
Yeah, man. So I was plugging away on Tactics a little bit again. I downloaded Final Fantasy Brave Exvius or whatever it's called on the iPhone.
Oh, right.
Let me see. I got it right here. Final Fantasy Exvius. Brave Exvius. Yes, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. So I played a little bit of that. It's not great, but it's a Final Fantasy game on the phone, so that's cool. I played some Rocket League, obviously, and I was messing around some more with the Fallout 4 vault building, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And that's real fun. That's it's dumb, but it's my favorite part of Fallout 4 is like the base building and like all that stuff. There's so much more to that game, and there's such a better game in it than all that base building stuff, but that's what I end up spending the most of my time doing. So I was doing that, and then, yeah, man, I got No Man's Sky Saturday night, and so I haven't played anything but No Man's Sky since that.
Okay, so let's get into it. I don't have a direction necessarily to guide this conversation, but No Man's Sky is.
I have a question to start us off.
Yeah, let's do it.
How many screenshots have you guys taken of things so far?
Chad's received plenty of mine already.
Yeah, I haven't taken a ton. I've seen a lot of Dave's. Surprisingly, I haven't taken a ton.
I find myself stopping like when I'm on a planet, or even like flying in my ship, and just being like, "This is incredible." And then so I screenshot it, and I haven't shared any of them yet. I need to send them to you guys. I haven't shared any of them yet, but like
I haven't shared them though.
There are some insane vistas. Like, I mean, that's a very, very small portion of why the game is so good, but I've taken so many screenshots already.
Let's talk about our starting planets. So when you start the game up, it takes you through a bunch of star systems, and you just fly through them, and it starts you off, and then it tells you to push the square button, and you hold the square button down, and it brings you to your starting planet. You have your ship, which is smoking, and you've got a crash ship that you have to fix some components to in order to get off the planet. And you have to resource or mine some materials in order to do that, and kind of look around for those things, fix your ship, and then you can stay, or you can just boot up your ship and take off into outer space. So when we started off, my planet, Dave and I were in a party together, and we started off when he starts telling me about his planet, and then I look around, I'm hearing rain, and immediately my starting planet has acid rain. Like, that's how my planet, that's how the game started for me. Obviously, I've learned a lot since then and how to handle things like that. But right away, I'm like, oh, crap, I'm going to die right away. I have acid rain on my planet. And so I'm looking around for these materials and trying to find them, and then hiding in shelters or hiding in caves in order to, allow that meter to recharge and stuff. So it was an all right planet as far as resources go. I don't even remember what color it was at this point, but I had acid rain to start.
Chad, that Jake Steele told me that you can actually use your grenades and dig your own hole in the planet to hide from the weather.
Right, but at that point, I didn't have grenades I've known that. But yeah, that is interesting to know. So Dave, what was your starting planet?
My starting planet was completely like the weather was calm. It was lush. There was palm trees around. It was sunny. There was nothing bad at all. And I'm hearing Chad go, "What the heck? My health's going down. It's acid rain."
It was awful.
It hit me. It was like, oh yeah, no crap. We could be systems away. We could be light years away. Like our planet's obviously not the same one. And I'm just like humming around, and Chad's like, I'm trying to find oh, look at this animal over here. Oh, look at this thing over here. And Chad's trying to survive.
Trying to keep my hazmat suit alive. How about you, Josh?
I just pulled it up because I wanted to remember. So my first planet was not. There were no extreme weather conditions.
What the heck?
So the only life support system that I needed to worry about recharging was the actual life support system, not like the element protection thing. So I didn't have any harsh weather conditions. I didn't find a single, like I explored for a while on the first planet that I was on. I didn't find a single dangerous life form. There were some life forms, but there were no like dangerous animals or plants. It was not earthly. It was very otherworldly. So like no palm trees or whatever. It was mostly, I think it was like mostly like yellows and purples on that planet. The very first animal I ever discovered was this thing that it looks like a jellyfish with tentacles, and like it walks on its tentacles, but the top of it looks like a jellyfish. So I named it Squidward, and that is the very first animal I discovered and named. I couldn't figure out how to name things right off the bat. I hadn't read anything about it.
Yeah.
And the game, like, it's kind of an out of the way system. So I went back and named things like a while after I had discovered a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that was my starting planet.
Did you get a chance to listen to last week's podcast? Ours?
Yeah.
So we talked about naming stuff.
I still don't have a system. It's just kind of coming to me as I'm going.
How about you, Dave? Did you come up with a plan of any kind to name things?
No. I named planets basically. Like I started following one of the paths that they have laid out, and I realized I was just jumping systems just to get to the destination, because like they'll like it's not really any spoilers, but like there's these Atlas devices, and if you go into the path of it, it'll show you like where a device is located, and you have to go through like maybe 4 or 5 systems to get to it.
Right.
And so I realized I'm just jumping these systems to get to this. I'm stopping on some of the planets just to stake my claim, but I haven't explored the whole system. So I started like naming, like I think the systems. I just randomly named one Odyssey 5, and then the next one was Odyssey 6. Next one was Odyssey 7. I'm thinking maybe if somebody, because I named the system that the device. Yeah, I named the system that the device was in Atlas Device 1. And then later was Atlas Device 2, and I'm thinking maybe people could follow the path to get to the Atlas device. Not that they would. I mean, they could easily just be shown.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Do you think for other people those devices are in like those same systems, or do you think it's procedurally generated for them too?
I would think that is the same.
It seems like it would be, right? Because it's like a whole structure.
Yeah, once it happens. Yeah, because I mean, it's a giant. Have you been to one, Josh? Have you been that far?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this big giant thing floating in space. I mean, there's like, it's all the stuff. It's so incredible because you have the space stations, then you have like space anomalies.
Yeah.
Then you have like Atlas devices. Then you've got like the whole mystery of like I'm still like figuring out how to deal with these ships that are just big, huge cruisers that are just floating in space.
I still have no clue what those are for.
Well, they carry resources, so you can't attack them.
Break into them.
You can attack them, but then they shoot back.
Right, they do. You can kill the
lasers.
like Poe and Finn does in. You can kill the blaster.
Have you rescued one from attacking ships yet?
See, that's the thing. Like, that's why I don't know. Is it like how worth it is it to attack those ships? Because I don't know if like does that obviously bring down your reputation with like that alien race? Because I've come across 3 alien races so far, and like if you protect them from pirates, obviously your reputation goes up. So
I will say I shot one and destroyed a container and gathered some resources, and it didn't say that my reputation went down. It might have, but it didn't say that it did.
Because I'm wondering, and like I've done all kinds of. I've already tried to fly into a star, and
I was thinking about doing that earlier, and I didn't try it yet.
Don't do it.
What happens?
Well, I decided to go for it, and so I'm flying in like my pulse drive, like the I guess the fastest before warp drive or hyperdrive or whatever. So I'm going forever, forever in that terms. Like I've been going for straight like 5 minutes, and I'm like, am I getting any closer? Like I drop out of the pulse drive, and I'm like, the sun, it looks like it's bigger. I turn around and the planets are definitely further away than they were.
Right.
I'm like, so I am moving in this direction. So then I start doing again. Then I run out of fuel, so I have to put more thamium in to boost them up. Then I start going again. I turn around, like they're still getting further away. It doesn't look like I'm getting any closer to this thing though. So I keep doing that over and over and over and over. I had plenty of thamium. I wasn't going to run out anytime soon. Plus, you can just shoot asteroids and get it.
Right.
So I keep going and keep going and keep going. Then all of a sudden, I run into a bunch of pirates. Like I actually get pulled out of pulse drive because some pirates are dropping into orbit or whatever. Not orbit, but just in the area. So then you have to fight. And I'm like, crap. I'm like going around. Then they kill me. I'm like, dang it. So it puts me back at the space station in that system. So I get out and it says your grave is, it says like infinite or indefinite.
Arrival and indefinite.
Yeah, so then I go into my pulse drive and it's like, your grave is like 14 minutes away in pulse drive, which is real life 14 minutes.
Oh, man.
So then I get to it and I keep doing this. I died like 3 times before I finally said, forget this, because seriously, I started my pulse drive one time and it said, you'll be to your grave in 43 minutes.
Oh my word.
And so I literally just stuck it on pulse drive and then I got up, like went to the restroom, like looked at my phone, jumped online, refueled my engines, did it again, and finally got it. And I looked it up on YouTube and I saw someone that had also tried it and they hadn't gotten there. Like no one's been able to do it. And the game started glitching out on me. Like the instrument panels in my ship disappeared. At one point, I kind of saw through my ship, like when I was angled certain ways, and the sun didn't look any closer. Yeah, so I don't know if you can. I don't think you can.
Off bookshelves.
That's interesting, because that definitely crossed my mind. Like, I wonder what happens if I fly into the sun.
And then I had to go all the way back.
Yeah, hearing that, I'm like, now I
actually
really
no,
want to do that.
I didn't go all the way back. I just warped to another system and then came back. That's how I did that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was taking a long time to get out there, which was just, I wouldn't recommend it.
It's too much.
Sounds like a lot of time spent.
I just wanted to see, which is just so cool that that's something you can actually do in this game. It's at least trial and error and try to figure stuff out.
So obviously we talked about last week this game living up to the hype. It sounds like for us it kind of has up to this point. Do you find yourself... I mean, we aren't going to sit here and explain every little thing you have to do in the game because hopefully you've played it or have watched some videos. And we could spend a long time going through all the specifics of it.
But we do this first before we give our opinions.
Yeah.
Ray's never played it. Ray never even really saw anything on this game before I started talking about it, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about it until you
didn't know anything. Ray got married earlier this year. March
19th. Yep.
Ray got married in March. And he's living in Blairsville, Georgia. Blairsville, Georgia, in a cabin, kind of temporary. They're going to move to Nashville like later this year, next year or something. But he doesn't have television, and he doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Right.
And so he doesn't have a whole lot of access to when he's there. So he hasn't heard about this game. So when I brought my PS4, I'm like, dude, you got to come to my room and look at this game. So he came over one night. We were both really tired. And I'm like, I told him a little bit about this game, and he was really interested in it. And then I showed him it, like, in action.
Right.
And I kind of wanted you just to, like, you don't have to take a long time, but just kind of, from a person's perspective who's never heard anything about this, like, real quick, tell me what you thought about it.
Yeah.
It looked incredible. I love stuff like that. I've watched every episode of Star Trek, all the movies, all the seasons, all the series.
He's rewatching the original,
yeah, I'm
or the Next Generation.
Yeah, rewatching Next Gen right now.
Oh, so good.
And I've seen all the Stargates. I love Stargate. Love that stuff. But yeah, that game was. I mean, it makes me want to buy a PS4.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you got to get it.
Right on.
It's the second largest or second biggest release for the PlayStation 4 game-wise so far.
It looks incredible.
So yeah,
I'd like to play it.
I mean, just the scope of it and the scale of it, the infinite actually, not infant, but infinite.
Infants.
The infant scope.
The babies.
The babies.
All the babies
in
in the game.
Yeah, they're everywhere. No, just the size of it, the 18 quintillion planets.
Man,
It's amazing.
And we said that before we played it, and we're like, yeah, that's huge. But then you actually play it, and first time you get off your first planet, and you see the asteroids around, and you see maybe a couple other planets in your system, and then you hit down on the D-pad for the map, and it backs you up to each star that you see as a system with numerous planets within them, and then you start to scroll back just to kind of, let's see how far this goes, and it just goes, and it goes, and it just, the stars become streaks of light, and they just keep going, and the colors change, and you realize that this literally is massive. And then you think about, okay, how do I travel? And one of the first things you got to do is fix your warp drive and upgrade that and get fuel for that, and that's kind of an arduous process. But then you realize, okay, I'm going to head this direction. Maybe you have two paths, like Dave talked about. You have the main game path, which is get to the center of the universe. That's the goal. And then you find...
Sounds like Stargate Universe, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Get to the middle. You don't know why. You don't know what's there, but that's the goal that you're being told. And then you find this, I guess, is a corporation. You guys have gone further in this Atlas thing than I have, because I've still not got my first one.
I'm still not totally sure what Atlas is. It's there are two people that have been mentioned, two names that have been mentioned, that are, I guess, people reaching out from Atlas, or if Atlas is even like a corporation or whatever. I don't even know yet.
It kind of reminds me of, remember Alien? What's that corporation that for the Alien movies?
Oh, yeah.
That's always sending people out and doing things, whatever that corporation's called. It kind of reminds me of that. But so you can take the path to the center, or you can take the path to these Atlas points, and they're almost opposite ends. They almost have you going literally the opposite direction from each other. And you realize that to get to the center, maybe I have to to get to the next Atlas point, it's maybe 4 or 5 star systems away, and I can only jump one at a time. And I use up my warp drive, and then I've got to get, I've got to upgrade that more. I've got to get more fuel for it. And you realize to do this, I have to warp maybe 4 or 5 times, like Dave said, to get there. And you realize that's like so small and such a short distance on your map compared to everything else.
Yeah.
It literally boggles your mind to think about how much is there. So,
dude,
incredible.
We've done this for a few hours or more. What are your, is it living up to the hype? Are you going to continue this resource grinding type thing? Is the discovery still awe-inspiring enough to where you see yourself continuing to do this for, like Josh said, the last game he'll ever need?
I see myself doing it for a while, and with I mean, as far as the hype for me goes, like I was telling Paco this actually the other day. When this game was first announced, I didn't have a PS4, and I was like, man, that looks really cool, but I kind of left it at that because I wasn't really planning on getting one at that time. And then kind of start, man, you should get a PS4, you should do this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, everybody who listens to this podcast kind of knows how that went. And when I got one, it was kind of like, man, I'm playing this game. Oh, yeah, I want to do The Last of Us. I want to do Uncharted 4. And I'm like, oh, yeah, No Man's Sky. I'll get to play that now because I have a PS4. And then it kind of stopped at that. Then in like a month before it was supposed to release, I was kind of like, man, the more I hear about this, the more I like it. To where 2 weeks before its release, I was literally watching, just laying in bed watching videos of it. Like, I can't wait for this game to come out. Like, I can't wait. And hearing what little I've heard about things that they'll add in the future, like how they're just going to keep
base
adding
building.
to it. Yeah, like there's. I mean, who's to say like what the limit is as far as what they can add to this? I mean, right now, I mean, I guess you could say, well, or maybe there's not a whole lot to do. There's definitely a lot to discover, and there's definitely, like right now, like one of the things. Here, let me give you one of Dave's little tips that I'm sure many people know.
Ooh.
But I was really excited to tell Paco, and then I think I told you, Chad, and Josh may not already know about this, but in every space station, once you get the Atlas Pass version 1, if you go to the left instead of the right, there's an inventory slot in every single one of those doors.
Yeah.
And among the the ones you can find on planets and dropships and stuff, to where I'm like, yes, every time I get one. So now my inventory slots I have like 23 inventory slots
on your suit
in my exosuit, which I think is more than my ship at this current time. And
that's definitely more than my ship.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded my ship yet. And my multi-tool, I've upgraded, like I've gone through like 4 multi-tools, like I've gotten 3 new ones, to where my multi-tool also has a lot of slots. And here's another tip too that I learned. How did I learn this? It might have just been reading. I was looking for some information on a site about one thing, but also found out about this, where if your buffs, so to speak, I guess, the things that you add to your tools, you put them in like kind next to each other, they actually become more powerful. And you can see, like, the colors line up. Like if you have, 3 of your...
I did not know that.
Yeah, your multi-tool, you've got the beam, and then you've got the... What's the other one? The blaster.
Beam intensifier, bolt castifier.
Yeah, so if you put all of the buffs for the bolt caster next to each other, they all highlight red, and you get a little extra perk. And if you put all of the ones for the beam next to each other, they're all highlighted green, I think. Yeah. And all the grenade ones are all highlighted purple or something else if you keep them together.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. Just stuff that you find out. Like there's no.
There's not a real detailed tutorial at all.
And that's the thing about No Man's Sky. It's all about exploring and finding out for yourself, and they really meant it. That's
even
like,
how
you have
play
to figure out everything.
I think,
and that's part of the draw to this game.
If talking about a tutorial, though, because I was thinking about this earlier, I think the game is so smart about how it teaches you how to play, because the first little bit of the game where you're gathering resources to fix your hyperdrive and fix your ship and whatever, that is kind of an arduous process, but in doing that, you're doing things over and over again that's teaching you, you're going to have to do this the rest of the time you're playing. And so you might as well, learn how to do it right now. So, yeah, it does. It becomes second nature, and you start learning how to, even though things look a little bit different on each planet, you start learning how to see, okay, I know that's iron, I know that's zinc, I know that's thamium, I know that's aluminum, I know that's whatever. And you can recognize these things at a glance now when you land on a planet, and you know what they're all for very quickly because you're using them all. So in that way, it's a super subtle tutorial almost, but the other stuff, the deeper systems, is to me, people are talking about how frustrating it is that they're not saying any of this explicitly in the game, but to me that's the cool thing about this. This is
figuring it all out.
Literally the perfect game for me. I love this game, so the coolest game ever. And I was trying to describe it to Cecilia because I was trying to tell her there is no other game where you've ever been able to take off from a planet and literally fly into space and then land on another planet without any loading.
Sure.
There's no loading. It's crazy. There's no other game that does that. And she was like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty cool." And then I was actually playing a little bit earlier, and she saw me do it, and she was like, "Actually, okay, that is really, really cool." You just flew in. It shows you breaking the atmosphere, and then coming in for landing, and you scan the planet and land on it and do stuff. It's so cool. It's so cool. So I totally, and I'm not as far in, I don't think, as Dave at this point, because I just got my Atlas pass and just started being able to access those doors in space stations and pick up that debris that you find on planets that requires Atlas passes and stuff. So
I've done a lot of jumping. I've gotten the what do they call it, the milestone for I think over 20. I've seen over 20 systems now. I've jumped over 20 times.
Yeah, you're definitely more than me. I think I've got 7.
I keep going back. To my first one. Well, I can't say I keep going back. I've gone back a few times because after a while you get so far away. It's gosh, it's going to take a lot of resources just to get back.
Yeah.
I could never find my original starting place.
I have gotten a hyperdrive upgrade that once I get the right, just powered up, but upgrade it to maybe I can jump 2 systems at a time.
Sure.
I don't know what that means, but I ended up going back to my first system because I kind of wanted to fleshed that out, and really, I almost discovered everything on my very first planet, but I haven't because it's not easy.
Yeah.
I started realizing all those little save points. Like I thought that there was only as many as is in that little menu, but it's way more. Like you can't even scroll through those, so I don't even know how many there are
all over the place. Yeah.
So obviously we think it's a game that we're going to play for a long time, and I think what we'll probably do future-wise for the podcast is have rather than spend 45 minutes each week, we'll have a highlight or something that we did or something to bring up each week going forward. So we'll have a No Man's Sky segment, if you will, for a while. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot to do there. I want to ask one more question and maybe discuss it a little bit here before we move on. I've gotten some upgrades for my suit where I have extra slots. And Dave, you mentioned with your ship, you haven't upgraded your ship yet, correct?
Not since not from the redeemable, the
pre-order bonus. Josh, did you have the original ship that you started with still?
I just have the original ship. I didn't get the pre-order.
Okay, so I also have the pre-order.
All the ships that I want are over 1 million units.
Yeah,
right.
And I got up. There was one point where I got up to like 900,000 units.
Yeah.
But once I discovered that there's inventory slots, it goes up like 10,000 units each time you buy one.
Yeah.
So now my inventory slots cost me like 150,000 units to buy. The next one will cost me that much.
So there's this, and I haven't researched it yet enough, and if there's any viewers or listeners out there that know, feel free to let us know. But there's supposedly this bug with the pre-order ship. You get the ship, and you actually, getting the pre-order ship, you skip the point where you learn the recipe and how to build a warp drive.
Right.
It's just automatically given one. And so if you go to buy a ship or switch out a ship that doesn't have a warp drive, you actually don't know how to build one. Now, Dave, I think you've come across and have learned that blueprint since.
Actually, I did not.
Haven't.
I thought I did, and it was just an upgrade.
Okay.
Blueprint. It wasn't an actual warp drive.
That's the point I've had numerous ships that I could have bought. I had enough credits for them. And when you compare them, you look at them, they all have, the ones I've looked at have like 21 or 23 slots, where I have like 16. And I've wanted to buy them, and I've looked at them, and even if you're at a trading post or whatnot, none of them is charged. Like they're warp, they'll say warp drive, but it won't be charged. So my question is, does that mean they just don't have fuel for it, or does it not exist? And I've also come across some crashed sites, with ships that have crashed that I can take. I just have to fix everything, and they'll have the little exclamation point over the warp drive. You not come across any of those?
A crash ship? No.
Yeah, on a planet. Yeah, you find the transmission, and
you can keep
distress
it if you
signal.
want.
Yeah. There'll be distress signals, and you go, and there's a crash ship.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta.
And it's smoking, and you can transfer all your stuff to that ship, and they've always been bigger, but you've got to fix everything like you did with yours originally. So you'll have to fix the shields, you'll have to fix the warp drive, you'll have to fix all that, the thrusters and everything. So I haven't done that yet for that reason, but I'm afraid that I'm going to switch out and not have a warp drive. If it's in a slot, they have it, right?
If it says warp drive, it's got it, yeah.
Even if there's no
even
fuel
if it's got
in
the
there.
exclamation point.
Then you would just have to charge it up.
So I think I'm going to make sure I have a save point prior to, but next time I come across one where I can get it, I'm going to do it. And because that's held me back inventory-wise quite a bit lately.
That does suck. I heard Jeff Gersman talking about the pre-order bonus and how it skips that whole thing.
Right.
And with that, at that point, I hadn't played the game. So without playing the game, I didn't understand what that meant until playing the game. But yeah, now knowing that you need to know, even if you have a warp drive on your ship, you need to know what the blueprint is in order to make a warp drive so that you could install one on a future ship if it didn't have it. And then not knowing that, you would have to chance upon one somewhere, or you would have to run into an alien they want to tell you what that is, or whatever.
Chance.
But yeah, there's a really good chance that you would get stranded if you didn't know that and then switch to a ship without one.
Yeah, so I did get not stranded, but I was stuck on a planet for quite some time because I ran out of plutonium in order to lift off.
Oh yeah.
And the planet I was on was a mostly water planet, and there was carbon everywhere, but no plutonium. I bet I walked around for an hour or more trying to find just enough to. And I think I texted you, Dave. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm in trouble. I can't find any fuel anywhere, and I've been walking for a long time.
There's a lot of
stuck.
There's a lot of. Did you hear me?
There's a lot of
materials underwater.
Yeah, there are.
I actually have come across an alien who has gifted me with a mask that helps me breathe underwater.
I have one of those too. I haven't made it yet, but I have it.
It doesn't. Yeah. It's not like. I mean,
you can go underwater to start.
You don't have an air meter, but you have to. It's like your life support. You have to keep refilling the mask.
Okay.
Just to, because I realized when I went underwater the first time I had it, and I was trying to get into this cave, and it went. I didn't really pay attention, but it went away pretty quick. Like I used it up pretty quick, but I didn't have an air meter when I was wearing it. Huh. Like that was really cool. I found an underwater cave, which is cool. Neat. Yeah. Like I came up and it's open inside, and I was shooting around. I mean,
I'm afraid to go into caves because I don't get lost.
Well, if you get lost,
I got lost in a cave earlier.
If you have grenades, you can dig out.
Right, if you have grenades.
And it's just, oh man, it's just so cool.
It's insane. There's so much to do. So much to do.
So many different kinds.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that these planets are as huge as they are.
Yeah, to get from one side to the other.
Yeah, you're not just landing on like a section of a planet and like you're limited. Like these planets are freaking huge, and like I was explaining it to Cecilia earlier too. Like when you're like coming up on a planet and there's a like one of those question mark things or like the ruins or whatever. Like there's a point you're trying to get to. If you're flying with the rotation of the planet, like if you're coming in from the west and the planet's rotating from east to west, like if you stay out of the atmosphere, you can approach that point and then come straight down on it. But if you hit the atmosphere before you're super super close to the point, like your arrival time keeps getting farther and farther and farther away as you like get into the atmosphere.
Rotating faster.
What is happening?
So you have to like
think about that.
Yeah, you have to plan like with the rotation of the planet. Like you have to take that into account.
Like real science.
I know. I was thinking the first time I was playing it, I was like, maybe this is dumb, but this really makes you stop and think. Like, wow, space travel is no joke. Like smart people have to do this.
They nerfed that a little bit. The planet rotation in the day one patch. Because it was even more though. It was even more so like that. I remember hearing. This is interesting too. Talking about the size of the planet. Sean Murray said that some of these planets to go around the circumference would take you like a couple weeks. They're so big.
It's insane.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah. That's insane.
Wow.
I landed on a moon and it was like huge.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a planet. Like
it's so amazing because you fly out of the planet. You're like, oh man, there's a planet over there. I think I might want to go to it. And you start flying out of the atmosphere, and you turn around to look back, and your whole screen is just planet.
A planet.
Like you can't. There's just the whole screen is planet because it's so big until you get out from it to actually see it.
And to see the planets from a planet, like on the horizon, like you would see the moon in real life, but it takes up the entire sky on the planet you're on. It's insane.
It is amazing.
Okay, so
talk about it forever.
Right, No Man's Sky. We like it a lot. We're going to talk about it going forward. We'll have a No Man's Sky section. We'll keep it brief to a point, but we like it a lot. And this is the first time we've had to talk about it. First chance we've really had in person since playing a lot of it to talk about it. So, if you have PlayStation 4, you owe it to yourself.
We need to do like a weirdest name portion in
we still need help on suggestions on how to name stuff. I started with Star Wars.
I was considering going the Star Wars route.
Paco told me that there's a planet already named in honor of bagel dogs.
Wow.
Nice. I thought about going the Star Wars route. I've named some things for Cecilia and like some other stuff. The weirdest name I've given to an animal so far is Veggie Beckham.
Veggie Beckham. I find myself naming animals based off of kind of what they look like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
that's where I was going to.
I'll have like a gorilla mixed with like an antelope, like gorilla taupe or something. It's like
I started mixing names.
But also, I also started just some of the animals I just straight up discover without renaming them, because I've already, like in Chicago, I seriously realized it had been like an hour and a half of me just naming things. I was just sitting there
you can do
for an hour and a half, and it was like one planet's worth of stuff.
To name the plants, I don't name any of the plants because there's just so many.
I don't name plants.
I named some type of berry plant, like something berry, because
I named the animals.
I found a mineral that was named owenite, so I just added an S to make it owenzite and saved that. Nice. And I was like, wow, nice coincidence.
I did name one kind of similar to what you talked about, Josh, with the tentacle things, and it was real fast, and it was coming. It was hostile. The minute I saw it come attack you, I just named it Nope. And then there's another one similar. It's like Nope too.
I think I named one This Thing Bites or something. Just in case somebody else happens on it.
I have a lot of animals that are. I named like a liger.
Oh yeah.
Polydidomite liger, nice, and I have like liger, and I have liger prime, and I have liger minor.
That's so cool. And if anyone ever lands on that planet, that's what they're named.
Have you guys landed on a planet that somebody else has discovered already?
No. Have you?
I'm on one right now. Actually,
really?
2 systems. I've hit 2 systems that somebody else has discovered.
Dude, you need to look that person up on.
Yeah, try to meet up.
I was wondering if they were like still in the area, but yeah, like I'm in my 2nd system that somebody else has already discovered.
Interesting.
Right now.
I haven't come across it.
And yet. I was wondering like that has to be a huge coincidence at this point. And I know like 2 players already were in the same place, but like there are so many systems and planets that's still like even with as many people playing as are playing, it's still going to be a huge coincidence.
Yes.
Yeah. So the story came up. Dave and I talked about it last week where that's our goal. We're gonna meet and we're gonna be on the same planet. We're gonna see each other.
Yeah.
And then that happened the first day. Two guys found out they're in the same place, so they both started streaming together. They both met up on the same planet. They were in the exact same location and could not see each other. They went to a space station to try to do it. Couldn't do it. One of the guys realized he didn't have PlayStation Plus, so he went and bought that. They tried it again. Still didn't work. And we have yet to really, that I've seen, get a straight answer from Hello Games as far as why that is. They alluded to the fact that it's because of the first day and the servers were really overloaded.
Yeah.
Or that might be the case. But you wonder, maybe that, not everyone's in the same instance as each other, even though you're in the same planet.
I can understand why Sean Murray would say this is not at all even close to primarily a multiplayer game. This is totally a solo experience, and stuff like that can, weirdly happen, but
not likely.
I'm wondering too if a lot of if they assumed that there's still a lot of stuff that they'll be able to put in before it ever becomes applicable to people.
Sure.
Because of how big it is.
Too. Yeah.
Well, they're already working on another patch for the PlayStation, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up intentionally.
So good.
If you have PlayStation 4, I highly, highly, highly recommend picking up No Man's Sky and playing that game. So, all right. Well, that's gonna move us on to their next segment, and that is the news that you can use
if you so choose.
And the news that you can use is brought to you by East Coast Candle Company. For all those awesome smelling candles that you need in your life, the fall is coming. I mentioned last week, that's when good smelling candles are a great time to be burned. Head to eastcoastcandleco.com and get yourself a real nice smelling candle to light up your life or someone you love. So, the news is here. First thing I want to talk about is not video game related at all, but it needs to be talked about. It demands to be talked about. And that is the new Star Wars Rogue One trailer. Came out last Thursday during the Olympics, real late in the night. We have all seen this trailer?
I have not.
Ray's not seen it.
Are you guys
on purpose?
Okay,
on purpose.
So are you avoiding it intentionally?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Anything Star Wars
Okay.
from here on out. Like
You're on
I watched the original
blackout.
like teaser trailer for Rogue One because I wanted
Okay.
to know like kind of the direction they were going with it.
Sure.
But yeah, like I decided beyond like the first your couple teaser trailers.
Okay. Fair
like,
enough.
I'm gonna black out on that stuff.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess then maybe we won't get into super detail on it.
No, I mean you can talk about it. Like that's fine. I just
Okay.
for me like the visual and like
Yeah, hearing about it are
like,
different.
you know, seeing the trailer and like that gets my mind going. You know, and then I make assumptions on my own.
Okay.
But like we can talk about it. That's fine.
Okay. So little plug, I guess, on the side, fair or not fair. Friend of mine, Brian, started a new podcast called the Star Wars Rant podcast, and he asked me to be a co-host on it. We're up to like 6 or 7 episodes on that, and it's just a Star Wars only podcast where we take about an hour and talk about things. And this last week we talked about this trailer, obviously quite extensively. We played it, which isn't great for audio, but it is cool to hear.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to see it, Josh, you could go listen to it.
all right.
And, you know. So anyway,
Just listen to the audio.
the more I see this Rogue One stuff, the more excited I get. Obviously,
man, it
episode
looks
7
so
was
good.
fantastic, and we love that. We did a whole episode on that specifically. This stuff looks real good, real good.
That freaking scene, man, where that TIE fighter comes up.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say I
She's
did see
walking-
the screenshot of that scene, and that looks cool. That looks freaking cool.
It
I'm
looks
imagining,
like they're doing this well.
I'm assuming she's getting into that. It's not like
Sure.
whatever. We don't have to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Josh.
So when that TIE fighter comes up in front of her,
Is that what I said?
did you said were you talking? Is that what you're talking about? Or were you talking about the Star Destroyer and the?
Yeah, I meant the TIE fighter.
Okay, yeah. I
Where
think
she's
there's
on like a catwalk looking
Yeah,
thing. And
that's what I
TIE fighter
thought
comes
too.
up.
I think there's a friendly in there, or she's getting in it,
Yeah.
like the whole Chewbacca thing on the AT-AT.
Gosh,
So-
it looked good. It looks so good. Everything
Yeah,
looks
so
so
we're
real and like
4 months is all we are away from that movie.
Yeah.
Right around 100 days or so to that movie. Real exciting. It looks real good.
Ray and I will watch that after this podcast. He's not seen it yet.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
I didn't realize it.
Yeah. So all right. Well,
Lot
head
of
over to
sex in
Star
the
Wars
world.
Rant. Star Wars Rant if you want. Take a listen to that Star Wars podcast if you like Star Wars stuff.
Star Wars.
We do that. Star Wars. Okay, next. Video game. Xbox One came out with their Xbox One S. And right before that happened, July, they were the number 1 selling console for only the second time since
Dang
the PlayStation and Xbox have come out.
PS4 now.
Yeah.
Hey,
You're
Sony.
right.
Hey,
Xbox
Sony,
One,
do you
you're
know
right.
why that is? Do you know why? Because they gave clarity around their new stuff coming out.
Wow. It's
That's
a lot
why.
of anger. It's a lot of anger right there.
Sony.
So yeah, they had announced the Scorpio, said that's coming out next year, and then they released or talked about releasing here in August the Xbox One S, which has the 4K HDR capability and the 2 terabyte hard drive, which we talked about last week is sold out, and they aren't making more of them. And then they also dropped their Xbox One to $249. So I think those things combined helped a lot of people pull the trigger on the Xbox One. And for, like I said, only the second time since these systems have been out, Xbox was the best-selling console in a month. So good for them. Good for gamers buying consoles. That's good. I like it all. Next, Final Fantasy 15 was going to be the game that I was going to get back into Final Fantasy. Dave was thinking about getting it for the first time ever playing Final Fantasy, and it's supposed to come out in September. They did the whole big reveal thing with the kind of funny guys, Greg and Tim, and had a whole big press conference just for that, and it's being delayed till November 29th. Earlier this week, last week, it was a rumor. They did confirm it over the weekend. So they're taking 2 more months to fine-tune it.
Good, and I won't feel bad because I said that Final Fantasy on the Nintendo Mini was going to be the first Final
Right.
Fantasy game,
And
and now
there
it
you
will
go.
be.
It will be. Literally
It'll be
will be.
available.
So, I mean, good. I've always say anytime they delay a game because
Yeah.
it needs work, go for it. I can understand why people would be a little upset by
Well,
this because they've been waiting for a long time. But
I was gonna say, in this case, this game being so long, coming,
yeah,
and them making such a big deal out of like the release date reveal and that
Right.
whole event and stuff like that. I can see why people would be frustrated. But yeah, like based on the beta, it seemed cool, but did still need some work. So if those are the things they're perfecting, I guess go for it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So another November game if you want to buy that'll add to your pocketbook. So there you go. All right, next, Gamescom, which happens in Cologne, Germany, starts this coming Wednesday, August 17th through the 21st. Neither Sony nor Xbox, Microsoft will be there doing press conferences. They will have games there on the show floor, no doubt. I don't know really what to expect as far as big announcements here. We may get some video game, like game-wise ones, but I don't think there's a whole lot like super exciting that will happen.
I just heard. I was listening to another podcast today, and Moriarty was saying it was something I found very interesting, which he seems to believe, and it's not based off of insider people that he's talking to. He just really feels that we may see Red Dead Redemption 2 this year.
Oh, really?
Oh, I heard him say that.
He says he still believes that it's going to come out this year, and he thinks that it might be. He thinks of all developers and stuff. Rockstar has every bit of the clout that they need to announce a game and then say, hey, it's going to be available next month, and then just put out stuff day after day for the next 20 days, and they get to play it. And it won't. He was saying it won't hurt their sales. They can go up against any game they want with that, and it's not going to hurt them. They'll sell millions of copies.
Yep.
If that were the case, I would have
psyched me up. Like, man, wouldn't that be incredible?
It would be, but I would think we would have. I mean, very little gets by without some kind of rumor of things coming out.
And it's been leaking. I mean, they're obviously building up to the announcement because of with backwards compatible coming out.
Sure.
And the
what's been leaked for 2? What's been leaked for a second one? That one map screenshot. Sure.
Is that the only thing?
That's what I'm asking. I feel
like that's the only leak I've seen.
I thought something appeared on some store somewhere and then got pulled.
Not sure. I know. That sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that'd be great. I would love that too. To be released this year, that would be a big surprise. That would be huge. I mean, that'd be big news. And he's right. They would kill it. Doesn't even matter what was around it.
Like that game would just be amazing.
Yeah. So
I feel like
maybe.
I feel like Gamescom ends up being a lot of like PC stuff. Didn't we see Darkest Dungeon premiered at a Gamescom?
I am not sure.
Last year, year before.
It's. I mean, the show itself is open to the public, so there's a lot more people that go. And typically, it kind of been Sony's thing because Europe is more Sony oriented than Microsoft, but they haven't done this in a couple years in favor of Paris Games Week and such. So yeah, I don't know that we'll get, unless it's a surprise drop like that, that we'll get anything new. We may see more of things we already know are coming.
I may be thinking of C2E2 actually.
Okay.
Probably.
All right. Well, continuing to speak about Sony, PlayStation 4 is coming out with a new update for the system, the 4.0, which is going to be a big one. If you're in the beta program, you currently are testing this out for them at the moment. But I wanted to go over a few things that kind of are big deals as far as changes go. Xbox and Microsoft with their Xbox One, it seems like every month they come out with new updates and they change and tweak things here and there. Sony not as often, but this will be a big one, and I'm just going to go over a few things they're changing. The first thing is they're refreshing the user interface, just kind of the way it looks, how it is all laid out. Nothing huge, but it's going to be like a new coat of paint is kind of how they describe the user interface refresh. But then underneath that, they're going to bring up a quick menu. So when you push the PlayStation Home button, it brings you to another screen where you can log into a different account, you can turn it off, you can do a couple other things.
Instead of holding it?
Yeah, instead of we hold it now and it brings you to an entire different screen. You're going to be
Mhm.
able to do that now, but it's only going to take up a portion of your screen. It's going
Like
to be
a pop-up.
smaller. Yeah, like a pop-up. So you can still stay in the game you're in. It doesn't take you out completely.
That'll be nice.
You're going to be able to see more important things on there. You'll see the online status of your friends. You also see the parties and groups that are available to join. And it's also going to be customizable. So if you don't care to see what friends are online, you can take that part out and maybe you can add something else in. So there'll be... if Josh doesn't care who's online, because he's not. Ninja boy over there.
I play in ninja mode.
You can customize that quick menu, but it's going to be a lot easier to get to in and out of, so that's nice. Similar with the share menu. When you hit the share button, again, it brings you out of the game completely. This will now give you a little pop-up where it's not the entire screen.
That's
nice. It also upgrades the 10-second video share to Twitter to 140 seconds. So you can add a much longer video on your Twitter feed and give you different options as far as saving screenshots and things like that. And again, it won't take you out of the game completely. It'll just bring up a little pop-up menu, which is nice. Probably the biggest thing is they're adding folders and a library organization. So when you go to your library, you see everything listed that you've ever downloaded, ever bought, ever, betas, whatever. It's all there, and you got to scroll through everything. This will give you different tabs. So it'll give you a games that are installed on your system currently tab, and then separately you'll have a purchase tab, and it'll show you all the games you've ever purchased, or downloaded. So you can, maybe you don't have everything downloaded, you can see that still. But you can go to the games you do have and just scroll through those only. And it'll also give you the option to sort your content however you see fit in those folders. They basically are taking the Wii U idea or the 3DS idea with the folders and saying, hey, that's a real good idea. Maybe we should do that on a real super nice PlayStation 4. So good job, Nintendo. Couple more things. Trophy improvements. Currently, if you're offline, you can't even view your own trophies if you're not connected to the internet.
You hate that, Chad.
It's so dumb. This is 2016. Stop it. So they are stopping it, and you're now going to be able to see your trophies while you're offline, and you're also going to be able to see the hidden trophies. Not by default. If you don't want to see them, they'll keep it that way, but there's an option where you can make the hidden trophies viewable.
Really?
Yep, and you will be able to see what the names of them are. So that is something with the trophies.
Huh.
And then finally, your user profile. So when you go to see your user or your profile, they're going to change a few things there. You're going to be able to add your own background to it, whether it's a screenshot from No Man's Sky, the beautiful vistas that Josh has taken, or whatever. And you can add your own background. You're also going to be able to compare with your friends' games right there. You're not going to have to go to your friends list, go to compare trophies, and then go to a separate screen. It'll all be right there in your own profile. So just making it a lot more snappier, it sounds like, easier to get around. It is pretty obtuse at the moment, and it works, but I'm glad they're doing these updates to make it a little bit user-friendly.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yep, so that is coming out in the next couple weeks for everybody. Like I said, it's in beta right now. Three more things. Nuka World, the last DLC for Fallout 4.
Woohoo!
It got a release date and a file size. The file size is just over 3 gigs, and it's coming out August the 30th. So
did you watch the trailer for it?
No, I didn't.
It looks really good. It's kind of creepy.
Is it like an amusement park type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think, like Six Flags or Cedar Point or like Hershey Park or whatever. Like it's got like different, different themed areas within the theme park.
Yeah.
Apparently there's going to be like.
Spoilers.
Apparently there's going to be like carnival games that you can play maybe and stuff like that, but
just say it. I'm going on a Fallout 4 DLC blackout. I have no option.
All right, I'll stop talking right there.
I don't want to watch anything.
I'll stop talking right there.
I need to get back to that game.
No, it looks really creepy. And after Far Harbor, Nuka World was the one that I was really, really excited about.
Cool.
So yeah, it looks good.
And that'll be their last big thing for Fallout 4. So.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. I mean, I'm sure they'll continue to do little things that might be free here and there, but as far as expansion packs,
that was the last planned DLC.
Sure. Yep. And because you got Skyrim Remastered coming out in October, and then their next whatever, I assume that they'll kind of throw out there. And the next, Battlefield 1, they released a new trailer today. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. It's in the desert.
Yeah.
And it shows the train, the armored train, and shows you riding on horses and shooting guys off of their horses and flying biplanes through sandstorms.
Sandstorms?
I'm really excited.
So many stands.
How long is this beta?
I don't know. I didn't see a length, but it starts August 31st.
I will be driving from California to Knoxville, Tennessee, starting August 29th, and we'll be gone until like September 5th. And I have a feeling I'm going to miss this beta.
That'll probably be the last day because I'm assuming that's a Wednesday, the 31st. I assume they'll run it through that weekend. They may run it longer. I don't know, but you have to be one of their insiders to be part of this, and you can sign up to be an insider. You don't have to have special status. Just Google it and you can sign up. I did get an email from them last week asking what my preferred platform was. And guys, I said PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
What is happening to me? What's going on? I don't recognize myself anymore. So August 31st, the Battlefield 1 beta will be there. Hopefully I'll be able to play that. I am super excited to play that game. It looks real good. And then finally, Destiny. They are doing the Rise of Iron here in September on the 20th. That's their final big DLC for that game. And alongside that DLC, they are releasing a collection called Destiny the Collection, where it'll include the base game and every part of DLC, even the Rise of Iron included, all for $60.
Sweet.
So, I mean, yeah, that is cool. If you've not gotten into it, you'll be able to get everything there.
That's a lot of stuff for
$60.
Less. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Moving on to the letter I.
Go ahead. Let us take it. Go ahead and take it.
Poop smells bad.
It does. Smelly stuff.
Who wrote that?
So I would assume in a hotel room where there's one bathroom, one guy goes, the other guy has to deal with it because the door opens right into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems on the road, traveling with Gunther especially.
Huh.
If you want to learn more about Gunther, go to patreon.com/SouthDakotaGamer, where you can find
good plug
episode 1 of the SDG Topics Cast.
And a little preview to episode 2 a little bit, I think, there too, with the whole poop thing.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was totally unintentional.
And you're welcome. You know you want to hear us talk about poop. Everybody likes it. Everybody does it.
I do have a pretty good story about something that happened on the road involving poop and pants and a 61-year-old man.
Okay, so that ends the news that you could use if you so choose and brings us right into one of our final topics. That is the topics that interest us. And this topic is brought to you by Andrew Complin. He's a real nice guy, as we talked about a week or two ago. They don't need any more of your kids. They're full. They don't need any more at their daycare center.
Keep your own dang smelly, sticky kids.
Keep them. So instead of promoting the daycare center, last week Andrew asked us to promote roads, and we learned about the road that Dave lived nearby. Wasn't the one he lived on, but it was close to it. And then we talked about roads for a bit.
Shout out to you, Summerfield.
Summerfield, never forget. This week, Andrew would like to promote and like you to be aware of air.
Air awareness.
Air awareness.
Is this just air? Is this fresh air? Is this?
It was a very generalized.
Well, Dave.
He doesn't want to keep us constrained on how and what kinds we talk about.
Is fresh air your favorite kind of air, Dave?
I would think that fresh air is my favorite kind of air.
Good. I don't know why you would have to think too long about
I'm going to
that.
say...
Well, because I also like just air, like air can be like not super fresh, as long as it's not super bad. But when it's like blasted air, like when air is like blasted at you, sometimes you can't, you don't really smell it because it's not there long enough, but it just feels good and you like it.
What do you think the shelf life of air is before it stops being fresh?
Like if it's contained.
I mean, does air have a shelf life? Why do we say fresh air, but it's
Spoiled
like
air,
if it's not fresh?
rotten.
Yeah, why don't we say like
fresh
like
air maybe
spoiled air?
doesn't contain
For example.
any added things like poop particles to make
But where's
it smell.
it fresh out of? That's
Or
what I
just
want.
it doesn't.
For example, this is
doesn't
something
have
that could
anything in it.
this is something that can make the topics cast later on. But something that I don't like is that stupid button in your car that just recycles the air that's in there.
Dude, I use
understand-
that button all the time.
I understand the process. I understand if you're driving somewhere and they're like laying asphalt, or if there's like bad, and you put, but to have that running all the time, especially when you're traveling with other guys and you're coughing and sneezing and farting
Well,
and
that I
pooping your
get.
pants.
Why do we want
and
that back
sickness,
in here?
And all you're doing is just recycling the air. It's like, imagine this, if you will, ladies and
Picture
gentlemen.
in your mind.
If you will.
Imagine if for an entire year you had to simply survive with the air on an airplane. How would that make you feel?
Better have a purifier. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the air on the airplane, that's why we have something that someone created called airborne, which whether it works or not, the idea and the concept is very good in the sense that you're just breathing air that other people have exhaled out of their bodies.
Not the
It goes
purest.
back. It goes back in and it blows right back in your face. Some little baby craps its pants. Some old man with like death inside of his mouth breathes out. It goes up into the air. It goes out. It circulates. It comes back through, and and you're twisting it, trying to get it to blow on your face as much as you can because it's so hot and stifling in that airplane.
Yeah, have you guys stopped to think that when you smell a smell, you're breathing in particles of whatever that smell
Yes.
is from?
You smell
That's
somebody's fart. You're not
pieces
just
of
smelling. You're not just
poo.
smelling their fart. Pieces
Poo-poo
of their
particles.
fecal matter
Poo
are
particles.
going into
That's
your
going
body.
in your body, and that's gross.
And your nose hairs filter them out.
Yep.
No.
So thank
Your
you,
nose
some
Air.
of them.
Some of them.
Thanks,
Don't-
Air,
don't
for
turn
keeping us
out.
alive and
Thanks,
also
Air.
making us grossed out a little bit sometimes.
You've done amazing things for us. Thank you, Air. We'll talk
Once
about
again, folks, you've heard a small snippet of what you can hear on the Topics Cast at patreon.com/SouthDakotaGamer, where you too can be a part of this community.
I thought it was ending there, and I was like, oh, don't do
You
that.
too.
My head's going to explode.
Dude, you too? All
All
right.
right, guys, on three. Favorite thing about Air. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I
It's
breathe.
dry.
Press.
What'd you say, Dave?
What?
All right, so the topic is, why do you guys play games? We talked a lot about games we played, whether they're on the road on our handheld, whether they're No Man's Sky where we get lost in those worlds, or Fallout 4 where we build a bunch of bases. Why do you guys play games? Is it fun? Does it relieve stress? Do you like the challenge? Is it just something to do? Why do we play games? Take it away, Dave.
Okay.
Question.
I can very adamantly say that it's for a combination of these things. Definitely for fun. Since I was a kid, it's that desire. I'm going to be 34 years old in a couple months. That desire has never left me. It's never left me. I've never not had the desire to play a video game. There's always something on the horizon. There's always something I have in my library that I want to play, that I can't wait to play. I have my roommate at home says, "Man, I wish I loved something as much as you love video games." He says it all the time because it's not only what I do for fun, but it's one of my hobbies. It's straight up one of my hobbies. A lot of guys will, they have a sports hobby. They like to go golfing, or they like to go play softball, or a lot of guys like to go out, just hang out at the bar or whatever. Not that I don't enjoy doing that, but I mean, I can sit down and play a video game for hours, just straight up hours. Like I could spend all day playing a video game, and when I get home, it's what I look forward to doing, and so that kind of spills into it's what I do to relax. It's what I do instead of like reading. A lot of people read books. Not that I'm against reading. I've read plenty of books.
Reading's dumb.
Yeah, but this is a form of my entertainment. it's something, it's I feel that it also has it helps me a lot in creativity. Eye-hand coordination is you can argue is very much affected by playing video games. There is definitely a stress relief factor. There's been plenty of times where I've sat down, I just want to kill stuff, and it's not. It's in no way like, oh, if I don't have video games, I will kill someone. But there is something to be said about, you can kind of cut yourself off from reality, go into this little world where you can just kind of forget about stuff, and it's relaxing. It can be relaxing, the same way that it can be very frustrating, but it's a complete different way.
Sure.
And trophy hunting is becoming a little bit more of a reason, but it's not. It's never my primary reason. Well, I guess there are some games I bought just for the trophy, but it's kind of a combination of everything. I mean, it's very rare that I get bored. If I get tired of a game, I simply play another game.
Right.
That's just what happens.
Okay. Good answer. How about you, Ray?
Well, I can't top that. That was
you don't have to top him.
No, I play them for fun. I've always liked playing video games. They make cool T-shirts out of them too.
Nice. Yeah.
Ray likes wearing them.
He plays them for
stress
the fashion.
relief. Yeah, for the fashion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else to wear.
Okay. Cool. How about you, Josh?
I mean, all of that, like, I think it depends. For me, the reason I'm playing it depends on what the game is, because it can be all of that, or something entirely different. It could be just for fun. Like one of the PlayStation Plus games was that twin stick shooter this month, and like that's just fun. Like there's not a lot of story to it. You just sit down and see how high you can get your score, and which harkens back to like the early days of video games when it was just all about setting the high score, or flipping the game or whatever. And now you have such powerful storytelling elements in games that, like, for me, there are some games like the Uncharted games, for instance, or even like the Fallout games, or like a Silent Hills game or something like that. There are some games that tell a story almost as well, if not better, sometimes than movies. Where, and like it's been talked about, like if you transferred a video game story to a movie, it would be super corny and it wouldn't work. It'd be the dumbest movie you ever watched. But something about the fact that it's in a video game and you get to interact with it makes it such a better story.
The interacting and affecting the outcome is the big deal.
Yeah, like it's becoming your story, not just a story you're being told, which is a huge part of it. So sometimes it's for the storytelling, and yeah, sometimes it's just stress relief or escapism. And I was just listening to a video game. I was just listening to a podcast today, and they mentioned, just a brief little segment of the podcast, they mentioned something about the concept of gamifying life and the reason that the human brain appreciates things being gamified. Like Pokemon Go has gamified exercise. And like you're still walking, you're still getting exercise, but it's got this overlay now where the part of your brain that processes reward is being triggered because you're getting rewarded for exercising in another way other than just being healthy for exercising.
I still drive around in my car for that.
Yeah, well, or if you're Ray, you game the system. You gamify the gamifying.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But they were talking about how your brain...
Ray's like that scene from Dumb and Dumber where there's like 80 cars behind him. He's driving real slow, catching Pokemon.
There's this part of your brain, like talking about the trophy hunting, that like it could be the dumbest trophy in the world. I mean, trophies are kind of a, like, if you really stop and think about it, they're kind of a dumb concept anyway. It's a virtual reward for something you did in a video game that you can't, like, you don't have it in real life. You can't, like, carry it around with you or put it on a shelf. It's just on your gaming system attached to your profile.
But there's people who care about it are other people that want
these. That don't care as much about your trophies as you do because they want to get their own trophies. But there's this part of our brain that processes reward versus time spent to get it, and our brain is not super good at quantifying how good the reward is versus the effort to get it. And so the fact that our brain is processing the fact that we got a reward at all for whatever we did, like they really went into the science of it, and they explained it a lot better than I did. But the point is, your brain doesn't differentiate very well whether or not it's a good reward for what you did. It just knows that it got rewarded. And so that part of our brain is stimulated, which is why there are trophy hunters. Like, we love getting trophies or platinuming games. Like, that's not necessarily a great reward for doing that, putting in that much time, but your brain knows that it's a reward. And so, like, you get this urge. Like, it's why No Man's Sky is so much fun to some people. Like, the thrill of collecting things and being rewarded with the next best multi-tool or warp drive or whatever. I think there's a sense of accomplishment maybe in that too, but
totally.
I don't know, man.
Chad,
why do you play?
Chad, before you say anything, I want to say this because I know you're going to say it. I don't want to look like that I don't care about this, because I really do. I overlooked this, and it's very important. But the camaraderie of some of these, not all games, because there are, I mean, especially a game like No Man's Sky and Uncharted 4, The Last of Us, games that I love to sink into single player and just everybody leave me alone, like block out my windows, just slide my food under my door, let me play this game. But some of those, like, gosh, I still remember, and it's starting to happen with Overwatch, but gosh, man, do I miss those Modern Warfare 2 days where the camaraderie of knowing, like, I mean, because we used to, like, I remember being at work, and during break I was drawing maps of the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer maps, and like figuring out routes and strategies. Like, man, we like make a choke point here and have a guy running back, and it was just like looking forward to that game nights, Tuesdays and Thursdays when we're doing twice a week. Like going to the store, stocking up on like Mountain Dew and like pizza rolls or whatever else, The
Bagel
whole thing
dogs.
about eating them as they're falling out of the oven and burning your mouth.
Yeah.
Getting in there, yelling at your teammates. Everybody's got their job and everybody's got their vice and the thing that they're bad at, and everybody's haggling and everybody. And then the few times when we come together and just completely berate the other team, like not even give them moments to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, oh my gosh, pretending like we were other people, doing accents and doing other voices, and it was so amazing. And games are so fun, and I mean, it goes back as far as when you're sitting on the couch with your friend. Like I told Ray, I said, like later this week, when I get a chance, I'm gonna go buy like a wired knockoff of a PlayStation 4 controller, so Ray and I can play some of these couch co-op games. Just because, I mean, that's just fun. It's especially when it's with somebody that it can always be fun with somebody that kind of likes video games, but they're maybe they're not huge, but they'll play. But when it's somebody that loves video games, and there's that friendly but still pretty intense competition of like trying to beat someone, and I mean, like games like Josh and Ray were talking about, like Mario Kart, like
Super Smash Brothers
or Super Smash Brothers. What great games where it's like it's such a simple and fun concept, yet it is so
play it forever.
Exciting. Yeah, and Chad and these guys now, the Evan boys, or not Evan boys, Steel boys.
Evan
Steel, Paco Steel, George Steel. They kind of know. I have a hard time concealing any emotion I feel when I play video games. They kind of just come to the surface.
Yeah.
I like to convey my emotions. Oftentimes are not thought out. It just whatever comes out.
But rusty spoons and everything.
Oh yeah, it's fun and it's exciting, and I totally love getting lost in that stuff, and it makes for an enjoyment. People are laughing. I mean, there's times. Was it you, John? Or maybe it was Tyler. Was it you, me, and Tyler, Chad? When I think some I don't even remember how this went, but I accidentally called you Dad, I think.
Yeah, that was Tyler. Tyler could not stop laughing.
It was
we had the giggles.
1:30. It was like 1:30 or 2 in the morning. We're playing Rocket League for like 4 hours straight, and something was just said.
Good job, Dad. I was talking to me.
I don't know what happened.
You got to ask Tyler that.
And we were laughing. It's like we weren't even playing. We
couldn't stop laughing. It was insane. It was that late night giggle laugh.
Oh gosh, it would just get so awesome.
Yeah.
There is a real. I mean, when you get the right people together and the right game, playing with your friends can just be incredible, an awesome thing to do. That's another reason that should not be overlooked.
Dave just gave all the reasons that anyone plays games in the history of ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything everyone has said.
Great.
Wonderful. No, one of the big things for me is the story. I like playing those single player games that have stories that you can just immerse yourself in. Mass Effect series is one of the big ones for me that I told Dave playing No Man's Sky and some of the music that you hear and traveling in space. I'm just like, man, I'm enjoying my time in this game, and it's not saying one is better than the other, but playing this makes me really want to play Mass Effect again. Because the storylines and the characters that are presented, I mean, you have a really well-written game and voice-acted characters. You can really immerse yourself into those stories and really care for those characters, just like you do on a TV show or like Josh said in a movie. And that's been one of the big things for me. And that's come a long way from when we were kids. Like you said, when we were kids, it was just getting to the end of the level. Oh, the princess is in another castle. And that happens 7 more times until you finally find her. And it's pretty anticlimactic when you find the princess.
You get it on.
That doesn't happen.
You take a bunch of mushrooms.
Nope.
And you go to that castle.
That's a different game. Not sanctioned by Nintendo. So
I want to know what game that is.
Yeah, well, that'll be an off-air game we discuss. So yeah, it's come a long way from the high score to the storytelling, and that's a big part of it for me. For me, it's my hobby. It's the reason I started the podcast, and here we are 79 episodes later.
Ooh.
What? And we have 7 people that listen to this? What?
What?
We're 3 of them? I mean, what? Why in the world are we doing this? Why? No, seriously, guys, why are we doing it? No. I like it. I enjoy it. And when I realized that podcasts were a thing and that we could sit together every week and just talk about them, man, that's fun for me, and I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the research and staying on top of things and up to speed with all the stuff that's going on, and being the guy that my 18-year-old nephew texts me and says, "Hey, I'm looking at getting the PlayStation 4, Xbox One. What should I do?" And having a conversation with my 17-year-old nephew about this, for most of an afternoon, and he's probably gonna get the PlayStation 4. And just knowing those things and being up to date on those things. But then, as Dave mentioned, probably the second thing I would have said is the fun you have with friends. There was not much like Modern Warfare 2 game nights. It was a highlight of the week. Work would suck. This is before I had 3 kids. Either I had none or I had 1. And so the time investment there was a lot less than it is now.
And you had a wife to take that one off your hands, so you didn't have to worry about it.
There you go.
Yes. It was before she realized exactly how crazy I was about these video game things. But looking forward to that night, be like, oh yeah, tonight's game night, and the text thread would start at like 11 a.m. Game night was like 11 p.m., and for 12 hours straight, we would talk, and we would mock each other, and we would make fun of one specific person, Jared, on the thread over and over again.
I was just about to say, I bet it was Jared.
Hey guys,
we'd get in fights. We'd get angry at the ones who had to work and didn't have time. Like, I'm trying to work. Some of us have life, so we get all pissed off.
We'd all gang up on them and just spam their cell phone. But that was fun, and playing together was fun. And the console generation, I think, kind of that fell apart on that specific Xbox game thread. And we've played some here and there. The games maybe not have been as addictive as Modern Warfare 2 was. Someone didn't like this particular version of it, and the next game this guy didn't like, or it just wasn't as good. And we've all gotten older. We've all added families and kids and time constraints, and so that's kind of fallen apart. But as Dave mentioned, Overwatch has kind of taken that place for me on PlayStation, and the Steel Boys and a couple other guys have. I've played a lot of Overwatch, and I've probably played more PlayStation in the last 2 months than I've played Xbox. So having that group of friends that can play around the same time as you do definitely increases the enjoyment for me when it comes to playing games. So I play it for fun. I play it because it's my hobby. And, yeah, it's a good time to hang out with people and just kind of talk with them. I mean, Dave and I's relationship started over Xbox Live on Modern Warfare 2.
That's absolutely true.
And he's spent a few nights at my house. I've been to his house. It's crazy, but that's how it started. So, you know, that's just why those are the things that we do gaming for. So I thought that was an interesting conversation to have. Listeners, we'd love to hear why you play games, if it's similar to what we mentioned. If we missed something, if there's a reason you play games that we didn't even talk about, I would love to hear why you do what you do.
Just one more small little insert into this thing that is bizarre about me and Chad is because of video games. And the reason that we hooked up is because we went to the same, didn't hook up like we didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't hook up.
Okay. So let's use a different adjective.
The reason that we got together digitally for video game playing.
Okay, it's a little better.
Not like cyber relations or anything.
Don't. Yeah.
Cyber relations.
If we went to. Okay, well, all kidding aside, the reason that Chad and I became such good friends wasn't because we went to college together. It was because of video games. And honestly, we talk like more than just every week, almost basically every day.
Almost daily, yeah.
And it's a lot of it's because of video games, a lot of it's because of the podcast, a lot of it's just because we're sharing, whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Sirens are going on.
Yeah. Sirens.
Well,
sirens.
I thought I was going to get by a week without it, but
nope. It is Josh. It is Chicago.
Dude, I will say, when I was there last week, it was like nonstop.
Yeah.
Driving,
it's just background noise. It's crickets in Chicago, basically.
Well, yeah, and it's like the sound starts bouncing off those buildings, especially downtown, and it's like they don't even have to be near you, and you're going to hear it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks for explaining our hookups, Dave.
Sorry about that.
You're welcome. It's out there now. Internet.
Yeah.
All right. So, finally, last segment of the evening. Game Scoops. 20 questions.
Plug yours, Ray.
Plug my ears.
Scoop!
Ray looks scared for 1 second. Like, what's about to happen? All right, so this is the game we play where there are 20 questions that the guys get to ask to find the game that one of us has chosen. This week I have chosen this game, and I'm real excited about this game. I had it ready for last week. I'm now ready for this week. You guys may begin.
What does that mean?
It doesn't. It just means I'm talking.
I'm
hyping up the segment, Dave. I'm
when
hyping
he
it.
qualifies it like that.
I'm hyping the segment.
All right, Chad. In this game that you're thinking of right now, do you wear a shirt with buttons?
What?
Okay, Ray. Let me put some grounders down here. Over the course of playing this game, we've come up with some questions, kind of a roadmap of questions, basically based off of IGN's Game Scoop podcast, because it makes it easiest to figure stuff out. And Josh has apparently taken it upon himself to become the Justin Davis of this group and ask them random questions.
Because the reason is that sometimes it super pays off.
No buttons that I'm aware of.
No buttons.
No buttons.
Right.
Okay, so it's not Hitman.
You're welcome, guys.
It's not a James Bond game.
See what I mean?
It's not. It's not anyone wearing suits.
It's not Mario because he's got buttons on his overalls.
You're correct.
Okay.
You're correct.
Zelda doesn't have buttons that I'm aware of, so it could be a Zelda game.
There's no buttons on it.
I don't know, man. He's got a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of layers.
Sorry, Link. I was talking about the Zelda games, but Link is the character to which I'm referring. If there's any nerds out there that were getting mad at me.
Okay, Josh or Chad.
Yeah, that's me.
So he doesn't wear buttons.
Right, we've confirmed. No buttons.
He doesn't wear a shirt with buttons.
Right. I googled it, and as far as I can tell, no buttons on the shirt.
So that doesn't. He could have like a button up fly in his pants.
I don't know that I would be able to tell that.
Okay.
But as far as Josh's question on the shirt, no buttons on the shirt.
Was this game released prior to January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay. So we know it's not NES. Unless it's a backwards compatible game. Unlike Xbox One, it's not NES, Super NES.
It was released prior to 2000.
Right.
So it could be those.
Those are all prior to 2000.
I said prior?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So it can't be.
Which means before.
Can't be Xbox, can't be 360 or PS4 or PS3.
Yeah.
Or
This is great. We're doing well.
sorry.
We're professionals.
We've
Does it
done
have
this
anything to do
80
with an
times.
animal?
Does it have anything to do with an animal? No. Not no.
Really? Actually,
Doesn't
that
have-
could have gone. That could have gone
I mean-
a bad way, but it actually went a good way.
When you think of this game, and there, animal is not something you'd be like, oh, that definitely has something to do with an animal.
Okay. All right. So we're prior to January 1st, 2000. Was this game released prior to January 1st? No, I'm sorry. Was it released after January 1st, 1990?
Same question.
Turn 1990. Yes.
No, but that puts it in that decade.
It was
Well, I know, but
Prior-
I thought you were going to ask prior to 1990, which means it wouldn't have been. And
Was
then,
this on the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, but because I wanted to get it like in that decade, and I don't know much about games prior to 90.
Well, I know, but asking it the other way would have still answered it yes or no. That's what I'm saying.
Ray, can you ask your question again?
Was this on the Super Nintendo?
No, not on the Super Nintendo.
Are we on question 6?
This will be question 6. Now you're on question 7 for that question.
Wait, we're on question 7?
Now you're on question 8. I mean, how do you want to keep going? No, this is question 6. Question 6.
I was asking Josh, by the way.
Well.
None of those would have applied. So it's not on the Super Nintendo. So is this a...
Could still
Could be
be.
N64. It
Could still be
PlayStation.
64. Yeah.
Is
Sega.
this a first party game, Chad?
Could still be NES.
Could be NES.
First party game. No, it's not a first party game.
Not a first party game. Was this on the?
Is this a shooter game?
Well, he's gonna
Yep.
ask one.
Well, that's fine.
What's that? Say it again.
He asked if it was a shooter.
Shooter, yes. It is a shooter.
Where are we at? I keep getting confused.
That's question 7.
Okay, so we're on question 8.
Yes.
All right. Is this a? What other consoles were contemporary with the 64?
Was the Dreamcast?
PlayStation, 64, maybe
I don't think
Dreamcast.
Chad would do a Dreamcast game. Unless it came to it as well, which I don't think it would have CDs versus cartridge.
Chad, was this game released during the Nintendo 64 PlayStation console generation?
Okay. The Nintendo 64 and PlayStation what? 2 generations? Is that what you said?
No,
Oh, I thought
PlayStation
wasn't
1.
Yes, one.
weren't
Yeah,
they?
PlayStation
Yeah,
1.
the original PlayStation.
No.
Okay.
Really? So it would have to either be Sega or NES? Or PC? Or arcade? I guess there's several more options.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it still could be NES.
So this is
It could
maybe
be
a late
Sega.
NES game.
Yep.
Was this released on the NES, Chad?
No.
Son of a... What now? Are we just blazing past handheld stuff?
Handhelds are always off my radar until somebody brings them up. Yeah, could be handheld too, I guess.
I mean, the NX has been making news. Chad might be thinking about.
Where's the cricket?
There. So you have siren. I have crickets. This is South Dakota. Those are animals or bugs.
In your house.
Yeah, it might be actually. It sounds like it's right
Dude,
there.
The other day, I woke up to a cicada who was on my screen of my window, and it sounded like he was like in my face.
Those are large bugs.
That's unnerving.
Large bugs. Sorry. So yeah, I have a cricket.
No, I wasn't judging. I was just.
It works perfect for the silent moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a sound effect. Question number 10.
So it's not on the NES. It's not on the Super NES. It's not in the N64 PlayStation era. It's a shooter.
Correct.
Right.
In the 90s. No, not really anything to do with animals.
No.
And you do not wear buttons on your shirt.
Bingo.
Correct.
You've described this game.
It's not Battletoads.
Because it didn't come on NES, Super Nintendo, or NC.
And also because no animals.
Oh yeah, that's right. Amphibians.
Toads.
Well, we don't have genre. Well, shooting. I guess shooter's kind of a genre. We're assuming it's going to be, if it's not in the N64 or PlayStation, it's probably 2D.
Is it on a handheld device?
It is not on a handheld.
Good grief.
The 2D question actually would probably be a good question.
Do you want me to ask if it's a? Do you want me to try to get 2 for 1 and ask if it's a 2D side scroller?
Sneaky.
Not cheating.
Yeah.
Is this a 2D side scroller?
No, it is not.
Man.
So we don't know if it's a 2D or a side scroller. Dang it!
Backfired.
All right. We said this was not released on the.
It is neither 2D nor a side scroller. There you go.
This was not released on the NES, right?
That is correct. That was the question.
So that was a big deal, Josh. It's not a 2D game or a side scroller. How can it be 3D?
Was it on the PC?
A shooter.
Well, yeah, if it's on the PC, it could be 3D. Right?
You know what? Possibly.
Could this be an old school first person? Like a Doom, like a.
Oh, that's possible too. Man, that's a knowledge gap for me though, like the Doom and Quake.
Yeah, but didn't those? I would think those ported over to one of those systems we've mentioned.
It was on the SNES.
Duke Nukem or Doom?
Doom.
Man, we still don't know what system this was on. Chad
It's not a handheld, because Ray asked.
Was this? I don't know if Chad's ever done a PC game. Was this on Sega?
No.
Dang it! I should have gone with PC.
Was this a PC game?
Yes.
PC shooter. I
Where
feel like
we've got to be like at 13.
Question 14 is next.
14.
I feel like PC shooter leads us down the road of like Quake or Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, like Ray said, I would think Doom would definitely have. It came over. I mean, Ray was pretty confident it came.
Are there demons in this game?
No, I don't believe so.
So there might be like dead soldiers, like maybe in what's the game that was remade on N64? Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. Oh, that was an early PC game. That was very early. I don't remember what year though. That was super early though. That was like very formative for first-person shooters.
We don't know if it's a first-person shooter, but if it's not a 2D and it's a shooter, you would think it's either going to be first-person or it's like one of those, like the arcade type games where you're shooting on a one screen.
Yeah. Who developed Wolfenstein? Was it id?
Yeah.
Was it?
Ray seems pretty confident. I don't know.
Okay, Chad. Do you shoot? It's Germans, right? It's like zombie
Nazi?
Germans in that game. Zombie
I
Nazis.
think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Could say
shoot
zombie soldiers?
Do you
if you're
shoot
worried about it.
zombie soldiers in this game, Chad?
No.
Man, I really thought we were onto something.
I thought we had something. So, but we got to go back to: do you shoot? Did you say do you shoot demons?
Yeah.
And Chad said no, but there was a clarification he made in his own mind as to whether or not it was yes or no.
If it was Doom and he asked me if there was demons, I would have said yes.
Right.
Without hesitation.
Right. I'm not going back to Doom.
Okay.
But I'm saying there's got to be something similar for there to be a hesitation.
Well, it was more hesitation. I was thinking, are there demons in this game? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure no. So it was me thinking.
Okay, so he knows for sure you're not shooting demons, but he was thinking maybe there was a demon in the game somewhere, but there's not.
We still haven't ruled out Quake for sure, though.
See, I didn't play Quake.
I remember that one a little bit.
I know that it's kind of... Is that what Doom's based off of?
Or
I
mean, the original Half-Life was really early, too. I think the original Half-Life was 90s.
I never played that either.
And
where are we at, 15?
16.
16, dang it. Do we want to ask, or are we confident it's a first-person shooter?
If it's not 2D and it's a shooter, I don't know what else it could be. I would think like a game where you are in a ship shooting wouldn't be
thinking, but that's still 2D. What is that?
First person?
Like Galaga. What is that? Is that 2D?
Galaga, I would say, would probably still be 2D.
I know it's a 3D, but I actually never thought about that. What it actually was. So I guess it would have to be first-person shooter. At old school, PC. We determined it was on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did.
I feel like I don't know, maybe Quake or Half-Life at this point.
Yeah, how do we know?
Good suggestions.
How do we narrow down? I haven't played either of them.
I'm trying to remember the story of Half-Life.
Aren't you like trying to escape some type of
There's like a
complex?
Yeah, I think there's like a rip in dimensions or something. Like creatures from another dimension or...
What about Quake?
Quake, I don't really know the story. I've played it, but I don't really know the story.
Can't Google anything either, right? Not allowed. See, that cricket's working perfect.
Yeah.
Dang it. Look at Josh. Or Chad, I mean, pulling out the...
I'm not trying to stump. It's just, that's not the intent of the game, but... you're moving along. You've gotten a lot. You've gotten somewhere up to this point.
Okay.
Well...
We've gotten to question 16. Because I can't think of... I didn't play... I mean, are we too late in the game to ask if it's part of a franchise?
No. Because I mean, Quake and Half-Life are both part of a franchise, but it would rule out like, maybe some other weird
When
ones.
When did the first Tomb Raider game come out on PC?
Oh, good question. I feel like that had to be. That's a Sony game, and they were big on,
Oh, there's
PC
definitely
stuff
animals
as well as
too.
like.
There's definitely
Yeah,
animals like
that's
dinosaurs and stuff.
Man.
Yeah, maybe we should just go down the Quake or Half-Life route. I'm trying to. It's not Doom. It's not Wolfenstein. I'm trying to think of other ones. I didn't play a whole lot of PC games in that time period.
Ask a question. Narrow it down.
Unless it's come back like on another on a console closer to now, and I've played it.
Yeah.
Possibility, but even if I asked that and you said yes, that still doesn't really put me any closer. Is this part of a franchise, Chad?
It is.
Okay.
It's question 17.
So it still could be either Quake or Half-Life. Am I right? The Half-Life storyline is that there was a rift, like a rip between our dimension and another one, and like creatures were coming through.
I'm not entirely positive, but you could ask if this if the franchise that this game is in has a highly anticipated but not announced sequel or third
part
that is just in
was here. I'll do it less
complex,
less cheaply. Was a game in this franchise released in a collection called? It was the Orange Box, right?
Orange Box.
Yeah. Was a game in this collection released in Orange Box?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Gosh,
there you go.
Josh, good job. Good job. So it's the first one then.
All right, Ray.
Not the third one, and the second one is.
What? What's up?
Take us home, man. You know what to do.
Just ask, yeah, no, he doesn't.
Throw 'em
really.
out there.
Just ask the game. Just ask, is it?
Is it Half-Life?
It is Half-Life.
Whoop, whoop.
But
There it is.
Half-Life 2 was also on the Orange Box. I could have picked
That's
Half-Life 2.
That is what. Wait,
Well,
Half-Life 1 was also in
Half-Life 2
Orange Box?
wasn't. Half-Life 2
Half-Life
wasn't.
Episode 2 was also
it 90s?
on the Orange Box.
So
Good
that's
point. No, that was not in the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
That
Half-Life
was in
1
the
was the only one in the
2000s.
90s.
You're right. What's that?
1 was also in the Orange Box?
Yeah, all the Half-Life is in the
Oh,
Orange
I
Box.
thought it was just 2.
No.
Well, still.
Yeah, so Half-Life came out in 1998 on the PC. It did come out for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 via the Orange Box later. And Half-Life 2 Episode 2 came out in 2007. But, yeah, I played those on the Orange Box along with Portal and Team Fortress. And all great games, great deal for your money on the Orange Box. But, yeah, Half-Life 1, very much anticipated. Half-Life 3 has yet to be announced by Valve, who is still in development, maybe, of that game. It was supposed to come out a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's another easy one, Josh. We could have just said, did Valve make this game?
Oh, it's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about going the publisher route.
You guys got there. I mean, you still had 2 more questions. Josh had it mentioned on question 16. But once you got to PC, I mean, the shooter question early was good, and then you get to PC, and you eliminated a lot of other consoles quickly.
And we eliminated a ton of games with my button question.
Tons.
So
You did eliminate some.
So this guy in Half-Life never wears a button-down shirt.
No, it's like an armored shirt. I mean, you never see him. That's the thing. You never, in the game, never is he seen, but there are drawings and pictures of him.
Depictions of the character is like this like futuristic looking
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
Almost like a jumpsuit.
Gordon Freeman. So good job, guys.
His brother Morgan is a famous actor.
Sweet.
Yeah. If you haven't played it and you can, I definitely would suggest playing it because it's real cool, real good game, a lot of fun. It's definitely aged and showing its age, but it's still fun and playing.
Was I right about the story? Is that what's going on there?
Yeah.
Like,
The Mesa project is basically doing experiences, and it opens another dimension, and aliens come through.
Gotcha.
No demons, no animals per se. I mean, they're aliens. Some of them look like crabs. Some of them look like the alien face huggers, but there are no animals per se. But you get the gravity gun, and you can pick up saw blades and like shoot it, and it just literally slices things in half. It's really cool. It's a real good game. Real weird too.
Style.
Yeah. So go play Half-Life if you get a chance. Real good game. Good job, guys.
Cool.
So that
right on.
That's going to do it for the last episode in the 70s of the South Dakota Gamer Podcast. Next week we move on to dropping a can and into the 80s.
Nice.
For the episodes. Ray, thanks for joining us. It has been a pleasure having you along.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be here.
Absolutely. And then Dave and Josh, as always, thank you. Josh.
Yes.
We have some other people.
We do have some other people to say thank you to.
Thank you.
First, let me say thank you to you, Chad.
Hey, you're welcome.
And also, second, let me say thank you to you, Dave.
Hey, man. No problem.
And also, third, let me say thank you to you, Ray.
You're welcome.
And last but not least, I will say thank you to the following people. Mr. Evan Steele, who is our OG Patreon supporter, very first one. Thank you very much, sir. Also known as generally accepted. Also, we've got Mr. Jake Steele, a.k.a. Paco Steele, Mr. Ryland Dollar, Mr. Andrew Complin, and the always lovely, smells wonderful, and is very, very sleepy right now, Miss Cecilia Choi. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We could not do this literally without you. You help us turn your dollars into podcasting hosting.
Yes, you do.
And we appreciate it. Also, thank you to Cecilia Choi for putting up with me for 1 year to the day right now as of midnight today.
Well, awesome.
So,
good for you guys.
Yeah.
Technically,
Nice.
it's midnight 04 there, so you're late.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's
It's 104 here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ed, where you are,
I thought you
coincidentally,
said
in North
midnight.
Dakota. So,
Well, as of midnight here.
which was this moment ago,
Which was
an hour ago.
Right.
an hour ago.
But for the people listening at midnight tomorrow, it's midnight 04 plus a minute,
In an hour.
which is
And
12:05.
Thanks
Central?
for listening.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Time doesn't exist in this place. You're in the future. We're in the future.
I'm going.
We're
to
in No Man's
when this
Sky.
is done.
And we will see you out there among the stars.
Bye.
Piece of pizza. Ray is saying, "Live long and prosper."
Yeah, he is. Bye, YouTube.